Ooh, Dolphins fans, what's happening? Give this just a second before I get going too crazy here. I know it is late on the East Coast, so for those of you that are on the East Coast, shame on you for being up this late and watching me. But thank you. I've been away for 2 weeks, and it's been a busy 2 weeks for me. I had to take a trip to Texas, and that was rough. I'm not made for 100 degrees and 80 something percent humidity. It was horrible. I melted, but now I'm back in Alaska, and Frozen Fins fan can continue to be Frozen Fins fan and not Melting Fins fan. First of all, Melting Fins fan doesn't seem as doesn't it's not quite as catchy, I guess. Um, but in that 2 weeks, I had to go down there to help my parents. They're getting older, obviously. I'm 42, you know. Then they're getting ready to make a move to Tennessee. My mother's getting some surgery, and she was not able to do a lot of the things around the house that needed done. So I took a trip down there and helped pack up the house and everything else and get her ready for her surgery. So those of you that pray, please pray for my mother. I'd appreciate that. But they're doing okay. Everything should be all right and ready for them to move and get her surgery. So just be praying for them to have a safe trip getting moved to Tennessee. I'm a little more excited for Tennessee. I might be able to visit them more there. It's a little bit more of a normal weather pattern, I guess you could say, as far as that place goes. So let's get into some of this stuff. The one thing that I have to get some of this out because, like I said, I've been away for a couple weeks and some things have happened, and I'm just going to kind of fly through this. I can't really be on too much tonight. My summer work schedule does not allow for a whole lot of time, but don't worry. As the season gets closer, I'll be back to putting out my 2 or 3 actual recorded videos and edited videos a week, and still doing my live streams like I did last year and everything like that. So, but for the meantime, the best time you're probably going to catch me going live from here on out will be Saturday and Sunday, and then maybe a video a week at some point during the week. So still going to be doing videos, just not as much as my normal activity is during the summer. Summers are a little busy for me. And there's always the chance I could get a call for a forest fire, and if that happens, I'm going to be out in the middle of nowhere spraying water cannons at forest fires. So just bear with me. If I'm not around for a week all of a sudden, that's probably what I'm doing. But, okay. Holy crap. Let's just deal with the big elephant in the room right off the bat. Let's talk about Jonnu Smith. This is kind of a weird situation, and I'm going to present kind of a view on this that maybe a lot of people aren't presenting. And first of all, I can understand what most people are thinking right now. What are the Miami Dolphins doing? Jonnu Smith wants to be paid, and he wants to be paid like he deserves to be paid. He deserves to make more money than $4 million a year. Right now, $4 million a year is what Jonnu Smith is making, and that puts him at 32nd ranked, the 32nd ranked tight end as far as money per year. That's not right. Jonnu Smith is easily top 6 tight ends in the NFL right now. That's where I have him. I mean, you guys can disagree. That's fine, but I have him at number 6, and he deserves to be making significantly more money than that. Furthermore, there's a lot of players making more money than him that should not be making more money than him, period. So the fact that Jonnu Smith wants a new contract, I mean, that's understandable. That also explains why he hasn't been at team activities. And like I said, you're trying to get a contract. I understand. What I don't understand really is the Miami Dolphins' attitude towards it is, well, they're acting like they don't want to give him a contract, and they're shopping him to trade. And like I said, if Jonnu Smith is asking for millions and millions of dollars more than what he's worth, I could maybe see the Dolphins, shopping him around a little bit to see what they could get in trade. but and especially since the rumors are that he might be going to the Steelers, it shocks me. But hear me out here on this. This is the part where some of you might just lose your minds before I even get this out all the way. Is it as big of a deal as everybody's making it out to be? Okay. Brace yourselves as we go through this and just be patient. Before you comment, if you're watching this live, hold off before you comment. Let me get this out. If you're watching it after I've recorded it, please just listen to this little bit before you comment on it, okay? The Miami Dolphins are making a commitment towards the run game this year. It's obvious. Towards the run game in short yardage situations. They have gone out and done things in the tight end room with Pharaoh Brown. They've done things in the running back room with Madison and with Ollie Gordon. They have done things on the offensive line by strengthening our offensive line. Mike McDaniel has even mentioned that he's committed to the running game. Knowing those things and seeing what they have done in the offseason, Jonnu Smith is not the best blocker. So let's just I know, settle down. I love Jonnu Smith, don't get me wrong. He broke a lot of records, a lot of Dolphins records for tight ends last year, and I'm not losing sight of that. He was Tua's safety blanket last year, and I'm not losing sight of that either. But what I am saying is there is a renewed commitment to smash mouth football going on with the Miami Dolphins right now. I'm not saying they're going to be the biggest smash mouth football team in the league, but I'm saying that they are making a bigger effort towards at least being able to do that. Now, with that, Jonnu Smith isn't going to be able to be on the field as much because he just can't block like they need him to. Knowing that, I can see the reasoning for them wanting a more well-rounded tight end, somebody who can catch and who can lay a block when they have to. We do have a new tight end coming in that could possibly fill that role. I'm not saying he can, but the rookie that we picked up, he could be able to do that. Teron Armstead mentioned this is going to be the breakout year for Julian Hill. I don't know if that's true or not, but that's something that he said. I have yet to see anything that really suggests Julian Hill is going to be able to do anything different than what he normally does, which is getting flags thrown and fumbling the ball. It could happen. I'm just throwing this out there. Also, keep in mind, and there are other players on this team that the Dolphins desperately need to be giving extensions to or reworking contracts for. Number one is Zach Sealer. Absolutely. So I'm looking at this. I'm looking at the things that we need on this team. We have some desperate needs, definitive needs on this team. Trading, I hate to even say it, but trading Jonnu Smith would clear up a lot of cap space. If they have something in mind that's going to work, and we don't know. It seems like Miami Dolphins are just shopping him because they don't want to. Hey, thanks, dude. Appreciate that. That's awesome. I suckered you in. Nice. Thanks, brother. As far as Jonnu Smith goes, I love him. I want him to be on the team. He says he wants to be a part of the Dolphins. Now, people are taking that as he wants to be on the Dolphins no matter what, and that's not what that means when Jonnu Smith says, I want to be a Dolphin. So everybody needs to take that with a big grain of salt and realize what Jonnu Smith is actually saying is, I want to be a Dolphin as long as I'm getting paid. Now, he wants his bag, and if his idea of a bag is more than what the Dolphins are willing to pay, then that would explain why they're shopping him around. Also, it could just be the Dolphins being the Dolphins and doing Dolphin things, and boom. Yeah, I'm worried about cornerback too, and that's what I said in the beginning. I'm more worried about the cornerback situation and other things than I am about tight end. And even with even with Jonnu Smith being shopped, especially to Pittsburgh, I'm more worried about other things. It's just that simple. And thanks for the like, Aqua. I appreciate it, man. I need to get you on this channel, by the way, at some point. We talked about that a few months ago, and I still haven't done that. Apologies. I need to get you on here. So, my email address is up at the top of the screen. Write it down. Shoot me an email, brother, and we'll work that out. That'd be awesome to have you on. Anyway, the Jonnu Smith thing it's troubling in a way. Is that from the Dolphins fan perspective is I don't want to lose him because he played so well last year. But looking at what the Dolphins are trying to get back to this year coming up, it's obvious it's going to be the run game. It's going to be short yardage situations that they're actually good at instead of failing at repeatedly. And with the receivers we have and the offensive line probably going to be able, let's be real, the offensive line is probably going to be better. We just don't know how much. But right now, I would say the offensive line is definitely going to be an improvement this year. I'm not saying they're going to be the best in the NFL, but with an improved offensive line, what happens? Well, if we have a run game and the offensive line is doing a little better, you're going to see middle linebackers and safeties stepping back a little bit instead of crowding the box. And when you have a box that's crowded on defense, that means that you know that you're going to get pressure and you know you're going to be able to get to the quarterback. If the Dolphins can get a little bit of time, you're going to see those middle to long distance routes run by the receivers being hit. They're going to be able to get the passing game going. And I've talked about it ad nauseum about what the offensive line can do. I'm talking about what the offensive line can do to make every other position on the team better. And that's what I'm seeing happening. Now, with all that going on, there's not going to be as much opportunities for Jonnu Smith. Now, of course, he is a fantastic receiving tight end, but he is not a good blocking tight end. And in a situation where we're committing to the short run game and the run game in general, and we're committing to being able to protect Tua, if we're doing those things, is Jonnu Smith really the best fit for this team? It hurts, and I know it hurts me to say it. It really does. But I'm just throwing this out there as something for you guys to kind of throw around the old mill. Think about it a little bit. Is this something that I agree, crazy Dolphin fan. This is something that I'm loving so much doing this. I know that I have a very small subscriber count. I know it's a small channel. I've only been going for just about coming up on a year. When preseason starts, it'll be a year. So I haven't been going very long, but I'm having so much fun. And the people that I've met doing this, it's just been amazing. So, yeah, it is. It's really good to see. And every time I see a new Dolphins YouTube channel show up, I'm always checking them out, always commenting, making sure to throw likes because it helps. It helps get these smaller channels going. And I want a saturated YouTube community. That's what I want. I want to see everybody's thoughts on this team. Like, I haven't seen very many people talk about what I'm talking about right now. Everybody's very upset with the Miami Dolphins, but there's more going on here than just, the Dolphins are trying to trade their best player. It's not that simple. And I'm just throwing it out there that maybe Jonnu Smith might not be the best fit for the Dolphins, especially if he's wanting a big pay bag. We might not be able to do that, especially knowing we have some pretty big needs on this team right now. Big ones. Mainly cornerback. That's the biggest need we have right now. And the reason it's the biggest need is because we need two. I don't want to put the players that we have, two of them, in our starting lineup right now. I would be somewhat okay with one of them getting the starting gig, but I don't know. And none of us do. Right now it's so early in the offseason still that we don't know much. We know that Storm Duck has done very well in preseason this year. We know that so far. We know that Cam Smith got injured in OTAs already. It doesn't seem like it's a very serious injury, but he got hobbled. He gave up a couple pretty passes from Tua to Jalen Waddle. One of them was for 60+ yards. So we know that Cam Smith isn't looking great so far. Is that all the information we're going to get to the beginning of the season? No. Does that mean that Cam Smith is going to be horrible? No. It just means that we have nothing new to talk about with Cam Smith. And we know that Storm Duck is doing decent, and he did decent You know what? And I don't know. You're right. I don't know what's going on with Ethan Bonner. He did so well under Vic Fangio's defense that I know it's not just. And Crazy Dolphin, what I would say there is he is kind of like Mike Gesicki, but I would say Jonnu Smith is a much better blocker than Mike Gesicki was. But Mike Gesicki's making almost $12 million this year with his bonuses and everything, and Jonnu's making $4 million. That doesn't seem right to me. So I know Jonnu Smith deserves more money. I just don't know if the money that he's going to want is what the Dolphins are going to be willing to pay, considering he might not be the absolute best fit for this team right now. But that's just an opinion. That's just my thoughts. Don't get mad at me. And don't get me wrong, I love Jonnu Smith. As far as Ethan Bonner goes, Aquaville, you're right. He played so well, especially in that playoff game against the Chiefs when it was like 10-15 below. He played amazing. I would almost say he played shutdown corner in that game. And then last year, he never even got a chance. Whether it be because he was learning a new system and he's still a young player, I don't know. But I know that he can succeed in the system we have right now. So maybe this is that moment when Ethan Bonner actually steps up or gets a chance to step up. Right now, I do look at Ethan Bonner and Storm Duck as very, 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 very having a very, very high potential to contribute to this team. I just don't know if I would have them as starters. But once again, as we get closer to the season, I would love to see more of them and see. I can't wait to see how they do in preseason, especially when we get to play against some other teams. See how he lines up against other players. Yeah, Ethan Bonner is super quick. And I don't know if you guys remember, but a year or so ago, Raheem Mostert mentioned that he might be the fastest player on the team. And I don't know if that's true, but definitely the fastest player on defense. So I do think that Ethan Bonner does deserve a chance for sure. I just like I said, I just don't know how they're going to do. But knowing that I would feel a lot better about the cornerback position if we would just sign one senior veteran cornerback that can play the position. Outside cornerback. And also be looking for the Dolphins this year. I mean, they played a lot of coverage last year, a lot of cover. Expect Miami to want to go man defense a little more. Not all the time, but a little more this season coming up. And with that, especially with the defensive line looking the way it looks, which, by the way, the defensive line looks really good. I'm not just saying that. Reports out of camp and OTAs and stuff say the Dolphins' defensive line looks really good, especially our pass rushers. So I'm encouraged. I think that having a pass rush like that and having Asante would be a good option. I mean, he's a little older than I would even want, but I mean, like I said, I'm not being a beggar right now, or I'm not being a chooser. I'm a beggar. If I was the Dolphins, I'd be needing somebody experienced to help out these younger guys, and maybe somebody who doesn't play all the plays, but somebody who plays a significant enough amount. And maybe an older veteran could pull that position pretty well, where he doesn't have to play every play. It's interesting. But as far as the Jonnu Smith thing goes, I mean, we're going to have to see how this plays out. We're going to have to see what happens. I'm not going to overreact to it too much. I would like, in a perfect world, to be able to hang on to Jonnu Smith, but what is the cost? That's my first question. What's the cost? Yep, Jason Marshall Jr. did. He does look promising. He looks like he's doing very well. And the one thing that I'm seeing a lot of people talk about, a lot of the beat writers and stuff, and the people who see these players, these rookies coming in, they're saying they don't look like rookies. They look like they fit the part, and that's pretty much all we can say about these guys right now. We don't know. But we do see promise. We do see intrigue with these players. They look like they belong. They look like they have the right attitude. It seems like it's going to be a good fit. So with those things, with all those maybes, it's a good situation there at least to know that if we could just pick up one cornerback, we might have a pretty decent cornerback room. Well, some of these players grow. It's interesting. I'm very excited for preseason because I want to see more of what these guys can do. Make sure if you guys are in here, throw down a like. And if you haven't subscribed, make sure to subscribe. Like I said, I'm not the negative Nancy complainer type of YouTuber. I'm going to be, I give the facts and I give my opinions, but I try to keep it chill. Don't think Miami handing out any new money at this point, but he is better than Mike G. Yeah, he's definitely better than Mike Gesicki. I'd agree. And he's definitely a better blocker than Mike Gesicki, but he's still bottom half of the league in tight ends for blocking for sure. And I don't think Miami is going to be handing out any money either, especially in a situation like this where he might not be the best fit for us right now with the direction that the team seems to be going. It just depends on. I really wish that I knew what he wants as far as money goes, and that's one of those things that probably is going to sneak out into the information highway soon. But for now, no one really knows what he's expecting for pay. And once he does sign a contract or gets traded somewhere else, and you see the contract that he gets, that's going to show you a little closer to what he wants for money. Like I said, I'd like to have him stay with the team. I just don't know if the amount is fair with what he's looking for. I do agree that $4 million for Jonnu Smith that's highway robbery. Jonnu Smith definitely deserves a bigger payday than $4 million a year. So, and I think the Miami Dolphins know that. We'll just see how that ends up panning out. Another thing happened. Tyreek Hill gave a couple interviews, and I'm gonna do something that I don't normally do when it comes to Tyreek Hill. I'm pretty rough on him, but I will say the last couple interviews I've seen him do, Tyreek Hill seems to genuinely mean what he has said. They did bring in 2 blocking style tight ends undrafted, yes, and one of them, I cannot remember his name. I'd have to go look again at my notes, but right now I'm still out of sorts. I just got back into the state, and I'm still getting unpacked and settled and stuff, and I'm not there right now. But we did sign one tight end that intrigues me greatly, a very, very well-rounded tight end that can block and can catch, and he's more like a lineman-sized player, but he's still got wheels. So there was one tight end that I can think of at the top of my head. But other than that, I mean, like I said, that's all. We're not too sure about that yet, obviously, because he was an undrafted rookie. But we'll see how it ends up working out for the tight end room. Like I said, I don't think it's worth thank you, Conyers. Yes, thank you, Crazy Dolphin. I appreciate it. Whew, man, I gotta get back into this. Oh, from Austin, Texas. I was just down in Texas, and I melted. Frozen Fins fan was not so frozen when I was down there. That's where I was for a couple weeks. So I wasn't quite in Austin. I was in Copperas Cove. I think that's a couple hours away from, or an hour and a half away from Austin, something like that. I don't know how you guys handle that weather. Holy cow. I was dying. But, yeah, Conyers is a decent tight end, and I think that he's going to work out well in this league. I think the Dolphins will be smart to hang on to him. Like, is it going to turn into a Hall of Fame type player, starter? I don't know. But I would say that Pharaoh Brown can catch the ball. Can he run as good of a route? Is he as fast? Yep, Melted Fins fan. Can he run as fast and run a better route than Jonnu Smith? No, he can't. But he can catch the ball, and he can block better than almost any tight end in the league. So, like I said, it's interesting. It's interesting to see. And like I said, I can't wait to see what happens with this tight end room. And if they're willing to shop Jonnu Smith like this, and if it's not about money, if Jonnu Smith's not asking for a ton of money, then they must know that they have something in Jalen Conyers. Or maybe they're just addicted to the name Jalen. I don't know. That would be like our 36th different Jalen that we've had on this team. All spelled differently. I don't know. It's going to be interesting. I don't know how it's all going to pan out, but I can tell you this. I can tell you that just about every position on this team I'm encouraged by, even the offensive line right now, which is crazy. But I am not comfortable with our cornerback room right now just because of the unknowns. I do like some of the players in our cornerback room. I do. Just not sure with the whole system right now. I am slightly more encouraged with our defensive line being what they are right now and who we have and the health that I seem to see. Colleen, that's right next to where I was, man. Oh my goodness, it was horrible. The place was nice. I'm not complaining about the Austin area, the Colleen area, the Copperas Cove area, but the heat I could not handle it. I felt like I was breathing hot water. It was horrible. Part of it is I'm just not used to it, and I'm a big old ex-football player, so I don't handle that heat like that. And I'm sitting there thinking, man, there's kids that play high school football in this, and I'm just like, how? There's college football teams that play in this. I just don't get it anymore. I mean, I played in Oregon, and I used to be able to play in 100 degrees, but it wasn't all humid like it is there. Man, it was horrible. So, yeah, and with all this going on, you do see one thing that's common with all the interviews of the players and with everything that's going on with the team. It definitely seems like they're having a lot more fun this year. And I know that the teams playing around and stuff, does that have to do with football? No. And you'll see some people saying, well, chemistry doesn't really make a football team better. Well, my response to that is, what the hell are you talking about? Of course chemistry makes a football team better. Does it make a single player performance better? No. It doesn't make a single player's performance better, but it does make a team performance better. If chemistry is there, if you know what your teammates are thinking, how they're going to react on a play, what they're going to be doing in reaction to a play or to a pre-snap set, if you know that those things, or if you have a hunch as to what your teammates are thinking, of course the chemistry, the help is going to help. And there's no way it won't help. So I don't really understand some of the bigger YouTube channels and stuff are talking about how the chemistry doesn't matter. It absolutely does matter. Don't let anybody tell you different there. That goes back into the whole team identity thing and attitude. That's the important part. And as far as, if Chubb and Phillips stay healthy, here, let me offer this up here. Every team can throw the "if we stay healthy" thing into a statement, right? We can do that for any team. So, obvious, definitely. If we can stay healthy, these things are going to be great. I'm just not going to mention the "if we stay healthy" thing too much because we have to hope they can. We have to, right? And Jalen Phillips and Chubb, especially Chubb, and in an interview that Chubb gave, Chubb even said it, he's ready to go. He's like, I'm ready. I just need some game snaps to get myself back to where I need to be. But that's not going to happen until I get into a game, right? Chubb is ready to go. And Jalen Phillips is almost there too. But Chubb straight up said it. And then in practice, in the OTAs, Chubb looks incredible. He's mind-blowing. Chubb, he had 2 sacks? It's just OTAs. It's just OTAs. But we can allow ourselves to be encouraged by that. Absolutely. Chubb looked good. And now, sitting back, remember the Houston game last year when we were like, man, is Chubb going to play? Is Chubb going to play? And then Mike McDaniel was like, no, Chubb's out for the season. And we're all like, oh, no. That doesn't look like such a stupid decision now. It doesn't. It looks like a pretty decent decision that Mike McDaniel made there, that the coaching staff made, that the trainers made. Because now it looks like that might have paid off because Chubb is ready to go and he looks good. He is in shape. And on the practice field, he doesn't look like he's missed a step. You even saw it. They've put out some videos of Chubb and Jalen Phillips playing right now, doing activities with the team, changing directions, pushing off those injured legs. I mean, they looked good. Jalen Phillips is a recovery machine. Like he does. He's like Wolverine, and Bradley Chubb looks great. So if they can continue doing what they're doing and working like they're working, I have no reason to think that they're not going to be at 90 to 100% when the season starts. I think both of them are going to be ready to go. I'm not guaranteeing anything, but looking at what I've looked at and the information that we see and the reports coming out of Miami Gardens says that they're going to be ready to go and they're looking good. And with that, our interior defensive line looks pretty freaking good too. With that front end, if they can do what they look like they're going to be able to do, and if we have the rotation that I'm thinking we have, especially when we have a situation where we have a gotta get to the quarterback play, we can really load up on something special with a zero blitz. And we don't even have to run a zero blitz, but if we ran a zero blitz with all of those hot doggers on the defensive line at the same time, holy crap, there isn't an offensive line in the NFL that's going to be able to stop them. So I'm excited for it. I want to see. And I'm looking at this season, not looking for Super Bowl. I'm not looking Super Bowl. But what I am looking for is player development. I'm going to be watching these, especially the first 4 or 5 games of the season. I'm watching player development. I want to see how these players do. I'm watching Storm Duck. I'm watching for Ethan Bonner. I want to see them. I want to see Jalen Wright. I want to see Devon Achane in a less dedicated running back position and more dedicated towards the slot. I want to see how they work this out. We have 2 running backs in Ollie Gordon and Jalen Wright that could share the main load of run plays. And if you have someone like Devon Achane, he's more suited for the slot or for a yin to the yang of smash mouth football. If you have Devon Achane as your every down back, it's just not going to work like you want it to. But with the upgrades to the offensive line and with the upgrades that we've made for blocking tight ends and the smash mouth running backs that we've picked up, this could work out rather nicely. I'm not saying it will, but it could. We're in a situation where this could end up being this could be an interesting season. Like I said, I'm not going to say Super Bowl, but I do not think that this team is going to end up worse off than we were last year. I see a better attitude. I see a more dedicated team towards self-improvement and team improvement. The players are saying all the right things. And so far, they're doing the right things in OTAs. But that's all we have to look at. So we can't say for sure. But I'm here to tell you guys that it's okay to be encouraged. Don't let people shame you for having hope that the season is going to be good. Don't let people shame you for thinking we might be okay. Do I know that we're going to be okay? No. But don't feel ashamed of the fact that you have a reason to have some hope. Don't let people throw out that hopium thing just because you might be hoping that we're going to be okay or might think that we're going to be okay. From what we have to look at, it suggests an improvement or a commitment to an improving attitude and work ethic on this team. With a changed work ethic and attitude individually, you turn to a team with a different identity. Last year we didn't really have an identity, but I can see things happening where we kind of see a little change in people. I see a change in Mike McDaniel even with his interviews. When they asked him about the trade for trading Jalen June 1st, asking what happened between him and he said I don't want to talk about it. I'm not going to waste my time on it. I've got other players that I need to coach. I've never seen Mike McDaniel so straightforward. Just like, I'm not talking about that. It's not worth my time. That would be an insult to the players that are here working and trying. That's what he said. It's amazing. And when he said it, I was like, yeah, dude, right on. I'm not even mad that he didn't want to answer it. I do want to know what happened there, since it seems to be an issue between him and Mike McDaniel. But are you guys encouraged? Are you worried? What are you worried about? I mean, I think we're all worried about cornerback, right? Also, interestingly, the Tua haters' savior in the quarterback room, they think that we're gonna have Tua benched for one of our backup quarterbacks, Zach Wilson or Ewers. Zach Wilson did not look good in OTAs so far. Like I said, it's just OTAs, so don't get at me too much. But they didn't look too good. I would expect Ewers to take some time to get used to the speed in the NFL and get used to how fast things develop in plays in the NFL. So, but Zach Wilson, I was hoping would show a little better than he did. He didn't look great. So it's just the beginning of OTA. So don't worry too much. But it doesn't look like he's going to be the savior for the Tua haters. Once again, just to clarify, I am not a Tua-neer, Tua lover. I'm a middle-of-the-road guy, and who our starting quarterback is, I want him to succeed. I don't want him to get benched. I don't want him to get hurt. I want him to stay healthy, and I want him to be lights out every game. That's what I want. I think Tua has the ability to lead this team and the ability to end some of the narratives about him. We have yet to see it, but I would like him to stay healthy. I think that him staying a little bit larger and not losing a bunch of weight in this preseason would be a good idea for him. I think that the 1 year that he was healthy all year was when he was a little larger, and I think that would benefit him to stay that way. So hopefully we see him go back to thick Tua. We'll see how it actually goes, though. If Tua ends up getting hurt and we have a backup quarterback in, I want him to be good. I want him to play well. That's where I'm at. Are you excited about the Wilson versus Ewers backup battle? I am too. I do think that if Ewers gets enough playtime, and like I said, this is just a thought, it's a personal opinion, I think Ewers does have a pretty decent chance to overtake Zach Wilson for that backup quarterback job. I don't know if it's going to happen, but I do like the raw tools that Ewers has. I love his attitude. I like the work ethic that Ewers has and the leadership ability that he has as well. He is a little hard-headed, and so is he going to be able to pick up the game fast enough and be able to learn and soak up information? We'll see. But I'm encouraged. I'm not going to worry too much about the Jonnu Smith situation until I see a little more of the direction that the Dolphins are going with the tight end room. It seems like right now Jonnu Smith is kind of the oddball in this situation with the tight ends, and it makes me think that the Dolphins are actually trying to go a different direction than what Jonnu Smith is. Much love to Jonnu Smith. I love him as a player, as a person. As a leader, he's a fantastic person to have on the team, and because of that, I hope that he stays. But if he's wanting a bunch of money and the Dolphins are in need of a more balanced or a more blocking style of tight end, Jonnu Smith does not fit that bill. So it just depends on what we're looking for. I'll tell you what, freeing up $4 or $6 million from Jonnu Smith, if we end up trading him, getting another draft pick for next year, which would probably likely be a third-round pick. That's what I would think would happen if we trade Jonnu Smith. We're going to probably get a third-round pick for him, and we cut $4 or $6 million out of our salary cap. That's not a bad deal, and it would be great if we could get a second round, which isn't out of the realm of possibility. But either way, we'd be stockpiling another pick for next year, and we would wind up with a bunch of third and fourth round picks for next year, which would be great. because we're going to get a couple compensatory picks as well next year. So knowing that, it's not the end of the world, and don't freak out too much about the Jonnu Smith thing until we see what's going to happen. You know, let's just wait, pump the brakes. Yeah, but the one thing, Aquaville, you got to think about there is it's not Mike McDaniel that decides when to throw the challenge flag. There's somebody in the booth that radios down and says, you need to challenge that. That's the guy we need to be worried about. Now, Dolphins reporters have asked directly in interviews, who is that guy that makes that call on the challenge flag? No one will say who. And it makes me wonder. But it's not Mike McDaniel. Mike McDaniel's getting his earpiece rang saying, call it. Throw that flag. And Mike McDaniel's the one that looks like an ass because of it. But that's not really Mike McDaniel's fault. I do agree that guy needs to be fired, whoever that is. He needs to go because that cat ain't doing his job right. That's for sure. I could do a better job, especially if I'm looking at a TV screen going, oh, well, that's clear as day. That shouldn't be challenged. Hey, Mike, don't challenge that flat. Don't challenge that play. I mean, it's pretty simple. So, yeah, let's not blame Mike McDaniel for that too much. I'm sure there's a couple instances where Mike just is like, no, I'm challenging that. But it's not his fault. Most of it's somebody else. So it's going to be interesting, guys. I do appreciate you guys coming in here. I told you I couldn't make this too long of a stream, but I appreciate each and every one of you. Any of you are new and haven't subscribed, please do that. Make sure you throw a like. If the challenge flag guy is Chris Greer, holy crap, we don't need any more reasons to fire him. We need to fire him now. Man, don't say that. I already hate Chris Greer. I think he should have been fired yesterday, and if that happens, he should have been fired 2 days ago if he was the guy saying throw the flag. Holy cow. Or if it's Stephen Ross. Oh my gosh, what if it was Stephen Ross? What if he's the one saying throw the flag? Holy cow. Guys, thanks for watching. Thank you. I appreciate each and every one of you for coming in here. I know it's late. And you guys chose to sit in here and listen to me yammer. Thank you. I'll be back on this weekend, probably Saturday afternoon. I hope to see you guys there. Make sure you tell your friends about me. Hey, come look at this idiot talking about the Dolphins. Make sure you tell them, even if you don't like it, tell them to come make fun of me. I appreciate you guys. Until the next time that I talk to you guys, remember, go Fins. Stay hopeful if you can. And Fins up.